It was 2015 and I just graduated college. And about 3.5 years before that, I just got out of the Army from doing active duty for 6 years. So my life was moving 100 miles per hour. So when I graduated from college, I immediately just wanted to work overseas. I wanted to be a DoD contractor. It's kind of been my thing that I've always wanted to do. When I got out the military, even though I got a degree, I wanted to go work for someone like Lockheed or General Dynamics or just a big government contractor and just work overseas for the excitement and for the big money. It's crazy. But something else happened. I met an amazing woman. A woman sounds so like an amazing, incredible person. And Elise, and it was way better than going overseas and risking my life, right? So I was looking for jobs, both in the Department of Defense world, and I really didn't want to look anywhere else, but I kept my eye out in the automotive world too. Because working on cars, as a technician, a mechanic, whatever you want to call it, it is really hard work. And sometimes it is underappreciated and it's really underpaid. It's just a really hard job, and I have nothing but respect for people who do it. So I was on Indeed like a maniac, just scrolling, and I'm really good at scrolling. Like a lot of the things I do in my life, it's because I'm a good scroller. I just like to look through things and search through things. I have the patience for that. I don't know why. But essentially I was scrolling and I saw that there was an opening for a service advisor at a Ferrari dealership, and I was like, oh snap. And then like in the bottom it said like thousands of people have saved this job listing or whatever. So I was just thinking like, this is really cool. So of course I submitted my application and I was like, I'm not gonna hear back from and I was right. I didn't hear anything back from them at all. So then I decided to do something, because at that point in time, I was like really big in like the motivational videos and the motivational books, and I've read everything you could see about. I've read about everyone's up and coming story. But one of the things I read about was sometimes just showing up and letting people meet you in person is the best thing. So I know this video is starting off like really positive, but yeah, it definitely has its up and downs, I'll tell you that. So this was the good part. So I decided I'm gonna wear a suit, I'm gonna get my resume, and I'm just gonna drop by. And that's exactly what I did. I just drove up there, I stopped in, walked in, and I was like, my name is David, and I want to apply for this position. If you have a moment, I'd like to talk to you about it. And I was blown away, but the guy was like, sure, let's talk about it. And he pretty much told me, he's like, we've had hundreds of applications and it's just so many people, but we really like your initiative, we really like your passion for cars, and even though you don't have a long history or a track record of experience as a service advisor, we're going to give you a chance. So honestly, that was really cool, really grateful about that, and I was on top of the world. As a matter of fact, they didn't tell me right away, they interviewed me and then they told me that in a phone call a few days later. And it's funny because I was working for somebody else, and I remember that the guy who I was working with, he was like, you can't take phone calls, and if you take a phone call, I'm going to fire you. And I was like, it's just going to be 30 seconds. And the guy's like, take the phone call and see what happens. This guy was wild. Even though the guy fired me, that guy, he was really cool, but he's one of those guys who like fires everyone and then rehires them the same day. Trust me, even when I'm not going to say anybody's name, I'm not saying anything, but I'm just giving you guys a story. So I was working for a big track organization, and the guy who ran it, he was like, don't take that phone call. And I took the phone call, and I was like, I just got a job with a Ferrari dealership. He's like, well, that's good because you don't have a job with me. And I was just, but we still remain friends. He's a cool guy, and he's just one of those wild people. But anyways, I got the job. And to be honest with you, if you really think about it in the world, like getting a job at a Ferrari dealership is pretty much, somebody's dream, especially if you like cars. And it was crazy because when I got the job, I was elated. I was just like, I couldn't believe it. Just showing up the first day of work, I was just like, my head was just like, I think I got the best neck workout I ever get because I was just like Ferrari, Ferrari, Ferrari. But the crazy thing that people don't know that in Ferrari dealerships, there is a ton of other exotic cars than Ferraris. And the reason why is because people trade them in. And it is crazy. So it's like Ferrari, Porsche, Lamborghini, exotic, super classic, super rare cars. And they are everywhere. So, I mean, it is crazy. But so essentially, yeah, I got the job. I showed up. It was just kind of, it was professional casual, you know, slacks, dress shoes, a polo or a button-up shirt, you know, clean shave, nice haircut. And I think it was like show up at 8. And I think it was essentially like 8 to 5 or 8 to 6. So they pretty much told me that we're going to bring you in, we're going to teach you, but the pay is going to be sucky. Now, again, I will not tell you, I will not confirm, and I will not say any names. So you're not getting any. And if you comment down below with an assumption, I will have to remove your comment because I am not having that. This is a story, but we're keeping it professional, and I'm not saying anything, who's who and what to what. But you just enjoy the story, right? Okay, so anyways, essentially, yeah, they told me like, we're gonna pay you. I think, to be honest with you, I think maybe someone at McDonald's was probably making more than I was. No lie. And that's crazy though, because what they told me was like, we're gonna pay you, I can't really remember, but it was something crazy, something super, super low. It was like, when I did the math, it was like $5 or $6 an hour. It was crazy. But they said that as you learn and as you progress, we're gonna switch you to a formula. And if you guys don't know how service advisors get paid, it's based on this like algorithm that they have. It's like a mathematical equation. They essentially get a percentage of the work order or invoice or ticket, whatever you want to call it, and that's how they get paid. So like hypothetically, if they, you know, somebody came with their Ferrari and to get all the services they needed again and get everything fixed, if it was like 14 grand, you know, how much they get paid is going to be a percentage of that. So it's like, there's not a cap to it. And that's why you always see like in the high-end dealerships where they say, you know, up to $250,000. Well, yes, you can make that. And yes, you can achieve that. But we're going to get into why I don't think that's a good motivator. So I got the job and I was like, I don't care how much they pay me, which is something you should always really take in consideration before you step into. And I think a lot of people, and I would assume in Hollywood or in big franchises, they feel the same way. They're like, I don't care. I just want to be part of this organization, which is a dream. I really think people should, I know now at my age, I'd be like, boop, I don't care if I'm about to work for Tom Cruise. Like, we got to sit down and talk about the logistics. Because I didn't realize how much work I was actually going to be putting in, and pretty much for free, if you think about it. So that's how much, essentially give you a rough idea of how much I was getting paid. The hours were Monday through Friday. I think there was some events that, which is a cool thing, you know, go to events in the weekend or something like that. But essentially, yeah, I showed up to work and this is how it went down. Well, before I continue talking, because this is going to be a long story, I'm going to make this as a part 1. And the reason why is because I really feel like part 2 is going to be long, and then part 3 will probably be long, and I don't want to, you know, post these videos and people don't want to click on them because they're so long. So if you're interested in this really long story of me working at Ferrari, go ahead and watch part 2 and part 3. But I'm going to end this video here, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think, and yeah, we'll see you in part 2.